That's true. That's true.
Go ahead.
Right now?
Okay.
We should start it now.
Just do it.
It's been 2 silent weeks, Liz.
2. Well, technically 1 because we missed last week and today
but
is
we're
Friday.
getting it today.
So it's coming in late today, but
Yeah,
we're getting
okay.
it today.
That's a good point. What exciting stuff, man. We're back. I feel like we gave people a little Sabbath, a little downtime, a little vacation from us for a little bit.
I got a vacation from us for a little bit.
You did. You just got back from New York,
Yes, this morning.
visiting some family, playing some mahjong.
So fun. So we got into my Chinese roots a little bit. Had a good time. Stayed up until like 2 a.m.
Put a $65 mahjong set in our Amazon cart,
It's because I got to teach my white friends.
but didn't commit to buying yet. So
Because
we'll
I
see.
have no one to play it with.
And we just got back from the DMV, the auditor's office, and the treasurer's this morning from paying
Yeah.
off some crazy stuff.
We had to pay some taxes. They got us.
They'll do that, and they'll get you with some fees, whenever
Well,
you don't.
Yeah, when it's like 3 months late. It was our fault.
Turns out you need current tags on your vehicle, everybody. So keep that in mind as you're driving. Word to the wise there. Well, what cup are you drinking from today, Liz?
I purposely chose New York because I already missed my New York family. But it's okay. I told my grandma we took a really cute picture.
Yeah,
And so I'm going to blow it up poster size and have my one of my aunts hang it in her room so she knows who the favorite granddaughter is. Grandchild. I'll even go grandchild.
Wow. Mm-hmm. No specifics or whatever, or no general
No,
favorite
I
grandchild.
am the best.
Wow, that's wild.
In
Yeah.
my mind, at least.
It was nice. I'm grateful that you didn't make me pick you up at the airport at 5 a.m. or 11:30 p.m.
No, I got dropped off at the airport at 5 a.m.
It's horrible.
And then we went straight to the DMV.
Yeah, literally. You got in the car. We complained about how people can't drive at the airport in the rain, and then went straight to the DMV. And it
And
was a
got
good time.
lunch. And
Are we
now we're
live
here.
again with all the sound effects because I forgot to mute everything? Wow.
I don't
Both
know
of
why
us
you
grab
bring
our
attention
phone
to it, though.
because you can hear it, and I feel
It's
like
fine. Everyone knows what a text message sounds like.
oh, that wasn't a text message, Liz. That was a Venmo deposit. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, I was
It
like-
wasn't. But I knew you'd give me those exact eyebrows that you gave me if I told you that.
My eyes got so big. I'm like, we have money? Tell
No,
me more.
We do not have money. But if you'd like to sponsor this podcast, you can write me at taylorclyde@me.com.
I thought you were going to say write you a check. People don't really know how to do that anymore.
I don't know how to do that.
You don't?
I've written maybe 3 checks in my entire 30 years of life.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But you just got back from New York.
I did.
You had a little fun trip in the border of South and North Carolinas when you went on your Carowinds trip with your sister and her kids.
Yeah, but I
was
also
cool.
went to Fort Mills, too, so I was in North Carolina,
You were
too.
also, that was another North Carolina trip. But the most recent trip that we got back from together,
Oh, a
all of those
sea
were
trip?
solo. Our most recent USSY trip was from Japan.
Oh, are we talking about Japan this time?
I don't know.
I should have gotten my Japan cup.
I know. I actually thought you had it. And so the
No.
whole setup right there was me going, Japan. But then it's the New York Cup, which is still a great cup.
It's a great cup.
It's true. Japan was amazing. But I figured that today we could kind of maybe unpack a little bit of what's happened in the past couple of weeks, but mostly focus on travel stuff. Because
Like travel hacks.
travel hacks, travel tips, travel memories, nostalgic things. Because I'll be honest, like I told you earlier, ever since we got back from Japan, I have been trying to persuade you to let us move there and just become missionaries to the wonderful Japanese people and to live out our days happy and old and wrinkly, climbing upstairs at shrines and eating gyozo? Gyozo?
I mean, it's a dumpling, so...
Yeah.
I mean, you got a Japan food. Good job.
Yeah, so let's recap. So we haven't seen each other face to face in 2 weeks because you've been in New York. So let me tell you a little bit about what I've been doing.
Okay.
I've been cleaning and I've been going to work.
The house looks great, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you, house
Thank you so
husband.
much. One day I have to show you the way of the house husband.
I showed you the way of the house husband. It's an anime.
It is an anime. It's a good one. It's probably one of the few that I've seen most episodes of. No, man, I was bored. All I did was literally go to work and clean and slept and walked Matthias, which he liked.
You worked out too.
I did work out.
You look great.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. It's probably the chain. That's why I look great.
Every time I go out of town, I give Taylor an allowance, and it's a generous allowance. And
This one was abnormally.
it was very generous. And
Yeah.
no, he's not a child, but
No.
Taylor is an adult that needs boundaries.
Yes. Yes. That's a great way to put that. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That was really sweet.
But yet you did not stay within those boundaries again.
I was aware of the boundaries as I
even left
leaped
you
over
cash. I left you cash this. I left you in a copious amount of cash and told you not to spend the card, to just use cash.
Yeah, it's true.
And
it was
you
wild.
still used some of the card, but then you took cash out of my emergency cash stash.
To be fair, I took it out of my emergency cash stash, which is just stacked up right underneath yours. Same stack, but I took it from my pile, which was underneath yours. So
But I gave you, we keep. Okay, don't rob us, but I just like having like
them the secrets, Liz.
a little stash, like an emergency cash fund. Because what if like the ATMs go bad and there's a hurricane and
it's possible.
I can't withdraw money and I need to buy groceries or I need to buy chicken? I don't know.
Nobody knows. That's why you have
knows.
to put money in the pickle jar all the time.
It's not in the pickle jar anymore. I moved it. I bought a safe.
I bought a safe because I got embarrassed that we had money in a pickle jar. I don't even know where we got that. It's a gallon pickle jar, glass jar from somewhere.
You've had it since before we started dating.
I brought that into our marriage?
Yeah, but I like it because it holds my coins.
Where did I get it from?
I don't know. Probably
Where
your
did I
grandma.
get a gallon-sized pickle?
Probably
Anyways,
your grandma or something.
yeah. So that's really what I did. It was kind of boring. Had some cool stuff, at work. We Anthony and I worked on. Okay, Anthony worked on, and I supervised in a major way.
They're not going to think you do anything.
No, literally. I promise you guys, I work. But we got this really great series bumper for this new series called Focus. Done and some cool stuff
who's
with
the
that.
star of that bumper?
Her name is Pat. I'm just kidding. Liz, you and I and Anthony and his girlfriend and his kid, we went down to Cypress Gardens, which was a beautiful place to go, and filmed everything. And you were actually the star. I'll give you that. You were the shining star.
Since I was in New York, whenever they were editing the video and they needed a voiceover, they used another Asian they could find, and she was my inner voice. So instead,
Purely circumstantial.
it's just so funny. So now I'm just gonna be like, okay, what would Pat say in this moment? So I'm just gonna have this as a lifelong joke.
Shout out to Pat Dreyer for offering to do that voiceover.
For being my inner voice.
She had to do 2 rounds of it. She
Right.
was the only one that we had to call back
because she
for a
wanted it to
second
be
one.
perfect for
Maybe
me.
she crushed it though. It's really cool. But that was really fun. So that had me feeling really accomplished this week. And that was kind of it. I did a couple of campus trips and had a good time with that. It was a fun time, but I really did. I was kind of bored for those 2 weeks.
I was not bored.
Yeah, tell us about your New York trip. Where did you eat? Where did you go? Who did you see?
Yeah, so I have like 3 sets of aunts and uncles in New York, and then my grandma, and of course my dad and his wife. And so I just ate dinner with them a lot. This was the first time. Usually someone is off of work or someone is visiting from the Philippines and like they're staying at the house too. But usually there's like someone to hang out with. Like whether you come with me or dad took off, but since he transitioned jobs, he can't take off any time off.
Right.
So I was actually flying solo for the first time.
Wow, bless you, Matthias.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to just go do my own thing. And it was kind of lonely a little bit, but it was still fun. I hung out with dad a lot on the weekends, which was nice. And then I hung out, I would walk to grandma's house. And since she's older, the aunts and uncles, they kind of take shifts of who sits with her at night. So then I kind of got to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So I did that a lot during the nighttime.
Yeah.
And I always brought, because my favorite bakery, it's like a mile away. And in New York, you just walk everywhere. They take the subway, but I like walking. So I would just stop by the bakery and I always brought her desserts, AKA
Delish.
I always brought me
I know
dessert.
exactly where you stopped.
New York Bakery.
All right, yep, okay.
Yep, the Bakery Cafe.
Yeah.
It's my favorite one.
Nice.
But yeah, so that was a lot of fun. Went to Mass with my grandmother where we took the cutest picture ever.
You should put it on your Instagram so they can see it.
I'm just saving it because it's just I don't know. It's like my little treasure right now. And I'm like,
that's
she's
cute,
so
though.
cute. And, it's just, I'll post it on a special occasion. Maybe.
That'd be nice, yeah. The world needs to see it. It's cute.
It's just so cute. You said you were going to edit out her cane, though.
I can.
Yeah, that's what I'm
can make
saying.
her
So I
look really
can't post it until you edit out her cane.
Or I can swap it out for like a diamond studded like
Ooh, can you
gold cane.
give like her some swagger?
Give her some
My
sunglasses.
little Asian grandma?
I can give her a matching chain that matches me.
No.
Yeah, that might be where we draw the line. So you'd say you prefer traveling alone with me or with a group, would you say?
It depends on who the group is. So
Ooh,
they probably will never hear this because we still have not made our podcast
secret
public.
podcast.
I don't actually know at this point. I told Taylor we had to be consistent, and we've been consistent, but this has
Yeah.
just been kind of fun telling
This is
a
episode
select
6.
few. Yeah, so
We're
we
over
just
the
tell
hump.
a select few. So I'm not like, it's not really secret anymore,
Yeah.
but we just haven't posted it on our social medias. What was the question?
Do you prefer?
Got it.
Yep.
Sorry. So tired. So our best friends, Holly and Tyler, I love traveling with them, specifically cruises.
Okay.
So we've gone on a couple of cruises with them. They're our cruise buddies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of fun because sometimes with me and you, when it's just us, I feel like we run out of things to talk about.
Yeah.
Just sometimes. It's
get
not
that.
all the time. But like especially when you like spend all day together, you're like, what are we going to talk about now? We
You
just
sit
had the
down
same
at dinner
day.
and you're like, I don't want to be on my phone, but I also have nothing to say to you.
Right. And then we're usually tired. And on a cruise, it's just us because we're antisocial, so we don't make friends with
That's the
strangers.
best.
So, yeah, but I love traveling with Holly and Tyler. I mean, there's probably a couple other people I wouldn't mind traveling with. Like, I do girls' trip with Karina and Zariah and Sophie, and that's, like, fantastic.
Yeah, true. Okay. So it depends. You prefer groups, but depending on who it is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would be anyone. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't want to go on a trip with your enemy. You might die.
True. Yeah. For me, though, I would say I prefer to travel. This could be crazy, but I prefer to travel alone.
Without me,
Um,
you got to figure it out first.
Now, I'm not saying I would be the most adventurous in everything and exploring, but I'll say that, yeah, honestly, like I don't mind on a very small scale. I can take myself down on a 30-minute drive down to Charleston and I can travel for a whole day. I did it the other weekend. You were gone and I went to the Gibbs Museum of Art and I
Okay.
explored there until they literally kicked me out because it was the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't mind sitting at restaurants alone and just putting in AirPods and just walking around self-touring with everything. So yeah, I don't know.
But that's just for a day. Do you think you would go on a trip? You would enjoy a trip by yourself? 'Cause
So-
you haven't done many of that without
Not
me.
very many, but whenever I played drums at
Yeah, you did go to Columbia without
at
me. Mm-hmm.
Vivid Church, yes, I got to play for a Sunday morning, and then they had a
Yeah, the
women's
women's
event.
thing, yeah.
Super fun. Actually, shout out to Alan and his wife.
So
They're-
much shout out going
I
on. I feel like
know.
we have to share this episode.
I know, right? He's actually speaking at the August Together night, and I'm very excited to wear my
Vivid
my Vivid
t-shirt.
shirt stuff. But yeah, I was there without you, and I didn't like driving up there alone. I felt like I could speed and listen to music very loudly, and Christian cuss out all of the people who cut me off on the interstate and stuff, which would not happen if you were there. But even the hotel room, like I was able to wake up as early as I wanted to, and I could go, straight to the little gym area if I wanted to. I didn't have to worry about telling you where I was going or anything like that. I could stay out as late or come in as early as I wanted to. So I don't know. I kind of enjoyed it. It was nice.
It was nice not having to buy double everything with you. Not there. Double
Yeah.
dinners in New York, they can get expensive.
Gosh.
I like double crepes, double like snacks, double bakeries, double coffee. I know. I went to our favorite crepe place twice.
Gosh, I almost got a crepe this weekend, but I knew it wouldn't compare.
No.
Because after you have Japanese crepes, what are you coming back to? You
But
know?
here's the thing, which is what America does. We love this Japanese style crepe place in New York, but when we went to Japan and got Japanese crepes in Japan,
Gosh.
it was delicious, but they were so
Yes.
small
Yes.
because that's how they
Yeah.
stay skinny, I guess.
Bless the Japanese people.
So I prefer, and then plus probably because it's like my spot, I discovered it.
Yeah.
I was like, I love this place.
My claim to fame.
It's my not really. I found out I didn't even know. I was sad this time. I didn't know it was a chain.
What
And so I'm like,
oh, yeah.
the crepe place. So I'm like walking around Chinatown, and I'm like, what is this doing here?
How did you get here?
I was like, no. You're supposed to be by my grandma's house in Queens. What's going on here? And the dad was like, yeah, it's a chain. I was like, oh,
what? Betrayed.
Honestly.
That's terrible. Okay, so take us through this in your mind. So whether it's Japan international, or whether it's New York domestic, or whether it's just like a weekend thing to to North Carolina or something, what is the one thing that you always pack when you travel? And tell us why.
Comfy shoes.
Comfy shoes.
Because your feet will take you far.
I don't know what to do with that. I guess so. If we ever make merch for the Clyde's podcast, it would be just a pair of shoes, and it would just say, your feet can take you far.
It's true. So you got to take care of them.
You do. I agree.
That's the first thing that came to mind, because especially when you travel to a place you don't know.
Yes.
I mean, some people do rent a car. I wouldn't enjoy renting a car. There's just a lot of anxiety, but I love public transportation. Like, it's the best. Either I want to have my own car where I'm comfortable in it, or there has to be public transportation.
Yeah, it's true. I think that's the reason on the shoe thing, not the public transpo thing, but I think that's the shoes I'm wearing right now, this pair of Brooks. It's why I have them, because we were going to Japan and I was so
we
scared.
We even got the fancy insoles for each of our shoes.
Got the inserts. It was amazing. You were so close to getting a pair of shoes.
I
almost got her, guys.
I have so many shoes, and I have a really nice pair of walking Adidas that are mesh.
Those? Oh, you're not wearing them anymore.
No, I'm not wearing shoes right now. They're like dirty from New York. I have to clean them before I like start wearing them in the house.
I should care about that more.
Do you know what I've stepped in?
No, and neither do you, and that's the scary part.
I don't. So I took them off as soon as I got into the house. And plus, with like my family in New York, because number one, they're Asian, so it's a habit to take off shoes when you enter the house.
Right.
And then number two, even if they weren't Asian, like I said, the filth from New York, you definitely don't want to walk. You don't want to walk like past your front door.
Right. Yeah. Bring all that in the house. But that's the reason I have these, because we were going to we were going to Japan, and I was so scared about how much we were walking. I'd never been anywhere close to that.
I mean, we walked 40,000 steps in one day.
Yeah, it was redonkulous. So I was so pumped that I brought these. So the comfy shoes are the one thing that you always pack.
Okay, what about you? What's been the most convenient thing? Like maybe like a luxury that we packed and you're like, man, this is nice, but it's not necessary.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, it's a gimme, but it's the first thing that comes to my head. So I reserve the right to change this as I verbally process this with you if I think of something better.
Okay.
But the one thing that I always try to bring is a surge protector. Nobody thinks about that. And you actually complimented me last time we traveled. You were like, I'm so proud that you think about this stuff. Like, I'm so grateful for that.
Well, yeah, because the one you travel with, it has like 3 USB ports and then 2 regular like plug-ins. So you can
We're not messing around.
Yeah, no. And it's like long. It's like long enough. I mean, you even saved... but whenever I did my live recording in North Carolina with my geek friends,
right?
Systematic Geekology, if you want to follow my other podcast.
That's the second plug.
Thank you. But you literally packed me a bag, and they needed I don't even know what it was called, but they needed this obscure cable.
Some cable, yeah.
And it was like my bag of goodies. I was like, oh, I have it. And they're like, oh, we need another outlet, surge protect. I was like, oh, I have this. And like, oh, I have this. And like, you just think of everything techie as you hold your microphone because you forgot something at the church.
I used the mic to record those voiceovers for the bumper and the... This is so stupid. It's a small adapter that literally holds the mic. It plugs into the base of the microphone that connects it to the stand. Whatever. But it's very small and it's on my desk right now.
Yeah, you think of everything.
Until I don't.
Yeah.
It's fun. Gosh, yeah. But I think most people forget about that. Now, I'll tell you this. One thing I'm really pumped about in the future is recently I had to take my phone down to the Genius Bar to get the little power thingy blown out because it had like some lint and stuff, keeping it from charging. And while we were there, I saw this USB-C, like a dual charger thing. You remember that? So now I have it plugged in by my side of the bed every night. And I've got my MagSafe phone charger and I've got my MagSafe watch charger plugged into the same little, whatever that little block thing is.
Oh, okay.
So that's probably really convenient just because, I mean, the MagSafe stuff, I can charge my watch, phone, and AirPods. So that's everything for me. So it's in one little power thing rather than the whole surge protector. But yeah, I think that's probably it for me.
So before you married me, So I traveled a little bit, like with my family, going to New York with my childhood. We went to Vegas, Atlantic City. My dad
Atlantic
was a
City, yeah.
gambler, and so we literally just like planned vacations around his casino stuff. He was pretty good. They like gave us free hotels and stuff apparently. So like and
Not
like
bad.
they took me on like 1 or 2 cruises before, so I was familiar
Oh,
with like traveling and vacations, whatnot. Not as much as we do
Nice.
now, but
Yeah.
you didn't ever even got on a plane or like a cruise, or I don't think you ever left the southeast
no.
until we got married, and I like expanded your horizons of traveling.
Now let's play this game.
Yeah. So what's been the most surprising, I guess, or what's your experience going from like no travel to
Okay.
travel?
Solid question. So, yeah. So, the biggest change that I would say is that I never knew the affordability of cruises. Now,
You
said
gotta look
that.
for the deals.
Correct. Yes. Now, what I don't want to do is I don't want to like knock my parents and say that I grew up with dirt floors like my dad
No,
did.
but they
'cause
enjoyed
it's not true.
camping, and so they did
Oh,
what
yeah,
they
yeah,
enjoyed,
yeah.
and it just happened to be camping or
Yeah.
local travel, and they would rent cabins, but it
Right.
was usually Tennessee or North Carolina, so it wasn't like you.
Mostly camping, though. Yeah,
Yeah.
we did a lot of camping, and it was super fun. But for us, we were, I mean, honestly, being really honest, it was whenever like both of my parents could get off of work, and so they made that work. But for us, the biggest shift was for me the affordability of like a cruise. Cruising, by the way, everybody, is my absolute all-time favorite way to travel. Like it is my favorite vacation thing. I get people get seasick, and I get people are like, "You're stuck on a little tin can in the middle of the ocean," but you don't understand.
We love that
Like,
tin can.
It's the greatest thing of all time. Just don't go on a tiny boat. But you do find those off-season deals, and we make sure that we pay it off before we go, so we can have a ball-out fun time without having to focus on anything. We pay our gratuities with everything beforehand. So the affordability, I think, was the big deal. Also, I don't know that growing up, our family thought about saving consistently for vacation like we do now. We've got a certain amount every month that goes from our debit account into a completely separate company vacation fund every month, non-negotiable automatically. So what that does is, and God, that thing needs to pick up soon, right?
Or after Japan and New York, it's sitting at $6.37.
Rolling in the deep, everybody. The deep debt. No,
No, it's not that.
it's not. It's in the black. No, but I think that wasn't on our radar. So for me, just being able to go on a cruise or two, or we've been on like what, four or five.
Five.
It's insane because I didn't grow up ever doing that. Never saw it as possible. So that's a big deal.
Well, your first international travel wasn't really a vacation. It was a missions trip to Guatemala.
It was.
Do you
yeah.
remember like fun story of Taylor with traveling. We were
no.
traveling with our friend, our bestie at the time, Benjamin Gaddy. There's a lot of shout outs going on.
Yeah. Good people.
But anyway, so Taylor was sitting in the middle of us because, he was the glue that held us together, our friendship. And so he comes back. So I'm already sitting by the window. I'm sitting by the window. Ben's on the aisle seat. Taylor comes back, sits in the middle.
No.
He leans over to Ben. He's like, Ben, I just joined the Mile High Club. And then Ben looks over at me. I didn't hear what he said. And Ben was like, I sure hope you didn't.
He's like, I'm sure you did not.
Yeah.
I was like, no, dude. I really did.
He thought just going to the bathroom in the sky
Why?
was the Mile High Club.
Because in the movies, people come out of the bathroom. That's the Mile High. There it is.
By themselves?
I mean, usually it's in conjunction with somebody else a little bit later, but
It was just
dang,
the fact
man.
that Ben looked at me. He was like, And Taylor and I were married at the time.
I did say that. That's awesome. That's how, man, we drove when we camped, dude. We didn't fly. I didn't have to worry about these confusing, awkward situations.
So funny.
Yeah, that probably should have been the one. That should have been my biggest, that's what I learned from
What
that
the
whole thing.
Mile High Club was.
So Guatemala was when we were just married.
That was like 2 years or so afterwards.
My parents and my family and I went to, where is that place? went to Gatlinburg. I think we went to Gatlinburg.
Mm-hmm.
We went to St. Augustine. I remember that. So yeah, for me, it was all mostly Southeast stuff.
Told you.
Yeah, I kept it low in the southern states.
Well, and this is why you won't drive to New York. We just prefer to fly. Like, we hate driving.
It's horrible.
But I do want to do like a road trip one day where we hit like something fun in North Carolina, then like Washington, then New York, and then Boston, Canada, like for the fall. So I would love to
Yeah.
do that one day. One day we will,
That'd be cool.
but not now. When we get a driving car, one day we will.
A self-driving car.
So so we talked about the practicality. So I always try and tell my students, because they see me travel so much, but it really is more affordable than you think. And with the whole COVID,
If you save consistently, yeah.
yeah. So even when COVID happened, we were very fortunate, and we did not. Neither one of us lost our jobs. No pay deduction whatsoever.
I'm very grateful.
Very grateful. And I mean, the job I was at, they never gave raises, but even like at the church, even during COVID, they kept like giving you your annual raise, which we were just flabbergasted at. But we still kept saving even when we couldn't travel during COVID, and we would try and take advantage of the low, I guess, openings of everything, and we would try and do weekend trips. So I feel like traveling can be as big or little as you choose to make it. Like, some people don't like the grandiose, like that 12-hour flight to Japan. Oh my goodness.
I didn't like
that. Was
that.
12 hours after all day traveling. We had to get to Montreal then.
Right.
But some people don't like it. And I mean, we started small when we first started.
Yeah. Our honeymoon was just up in North Carolina.
Yeah. And we would
Little
do like
Switzerland.
one night stays in Myrtle Beach, which is just 2 hours away.
Yeah.
And so it's really just recently, I feel like, because we had so much COVID funds
Yeah.
from
nobody
our
went
savings.
anywhere.
Yeah, we didn't go anywhere. That we were able to really like do big stuff.
Which is super nice.
But Taylor gets to choose the next vacation. We try and do like I choose, he choose. I
to
cheated
do.
a little bit because like last time I chose it was Disney, and then he wanted to do a cruise, so I found this dirt cheap cruise and like squeezed it in during my spring break. And I mean, it's gonna sound
You
so
squeezed
entitled.
that was spring break. It was
Yeah,
spring break.
it's gonna sound so entitled, but like the cruise, it was a small boat. It was bad weather. It was still great because it was a cruise, but it was the
Yeah.
worst cruise we went on. So I feel like I kind of like cheated a little bit because I wanted to do Japan, and I'm like, oh Taylor, I got you a cruise for your pick. You're welcome.
And also, we're saving up to spend a junk ton of money overseas.
So now Taylor gets to pick the big vacation within reason, because if he chooses something grandiose, it might take, like I said, $6.36 in
That's where
vacation
we are.
fund.
Yeah.
So like it's going to be like if the timetable has to match the destination. So where do you want to go next, Taylor?
The destination has to match the budget.
Well, yes, and which has to match the timetable of saving.
Yes. Yeah. The destination determines the budget, which determines the timetable. Okay. Man, I don't know. I got to think about it. That's I have a couple of places that I think would be cool, but I don't know. It's going to take some prayer and fasting, and I'm just trying to figure
He
it out.
wants to go to Fiji like next year, and that's impossible.
I just have wanted to go to Fiji forever. Big fans of their water. Big fans.
And I told him, I was like, Fiji is kind of like a retirement type deal.
Look, if
where
I
you ball out because you you hit a milestone.
like the Mile High Club.
Whatever. Yeah, you will not be. Can you imagine if a pastor
I'm
gets
not trying to
banned
get- yeah,
from
exactly.
airlines?
I want to still be able to go someplace. Hey, let's wrap up. And I got one final question to ask you.
What's up?
So we've been able to go to, we played this game a while back, but how many countries have we've been able to go to?
We together or just me?
Yeah, let's just do you.
3, 5, about 8 or 10
10
countries.
That's incredible.
It's fun.
That is wild. Your passport is really cool.
It is really
We're
fun.
gonna have to take pictures before we like.
I don't
have to
think that's
relinquish
legal. Oh yeah, okay. I thought you meant to share.
yeah.
I was like, I'm not sharing
It.
passport
No,
pictures.
I'm not gonna show them that. But you've been to like 10, maybe 10 at most different countries. How has traveling changed your? This is gonna get really deep. Like it kind of is a little deep. So dive into it a little. How has traveling changed your perspective on life. You grew up in a place called Walterboro. That's a small town
It's a
in South
no-name
Carolina.
town.
You've been now to 10 different countries. How has traveling the globe literally changed your perspective on life? I'm curious about this.
I feel like it makes you feel a little bit more united, like with especially different cultures and whatnot, and
Okay.
with biases and races, you can get like a them and me type situation.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it really just shows how, because when you travel to a different country, you're them, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
are in their country, and it makes you have an appreciation for their culture. And when you come back, you're almost like a little bit more humbled to people. And I even got like frustrated the other
that's
day when I was on the phone with customer service and someone who couldn't speak English was
Good,
trying
good,
to help me, and they
good.
could not. I kept on repeating, and I was very kind, like, but I was getting frustrated inside.
hard, yeah.
I was like, "No,
Yeah.
this is what happened. Like, am I understanding correctly?" I'm like, "No, you're not understanding correctly."
No, thank you for asking.
But I mean, it just kind of gives you. But then when we were in Japan, we were the outsiders with the language barrier.
Right.
You know, so it kind of makes you double think a little bit, even though I called an American corporation, and I truly believe like someone who understood. Okay, I have bias.
Make America great again.
Stop,
Bring
don't say-
jobs back.
Canceled.
kidding,
Canceled.
just kidding. But-
Unemployment is like is actually looking good right now.
It is.
If you want to talk economics, we can. But another podcast. But it makes you a little bit more humbled, because especially
Yeah.
with the language barriers, or when you go on a mission trip to third world countries and you see all the stuff that you complain about here in America, and
Yeah, okay.
they're literally sleeping on dirt floors, but they have joy.
Right.
Or like my friend right now is deployed in Africa right now, and he is in this like literally an awful place, and he was just describing it to me, and I'm like, they have no hope whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so you just kind of you think about how small you are compared to the world.
That's an incredible perspective. I think that's exactly what I would say. Going back to Japan, just because that's the most starkly contrasting experience that I've had of living my entire life in America. To me, and I tell this to a lot of people, when we first got there, I expected it to be like, what's nice?
Almost like going back in time.
Like Akihabara or Akihabara, as they said it or whatever. It was funny. They always said it. It was weird to me. But like seeing that place at night, neon signs everywhere, people like full cosplay all the time, like everything going crazy. And when we got there, the more places we walked around in Japan, the more normal that it felt. It didn't feel like it was, the language barrier wasn't as major as I thought it was going to be. Everything wasn't super different from what I was used to growing up and stuff. It just felt like it felt nice. It was cool.
Felt like home.
I was going to say that, but I don't want to over
You're trying
dramatize
to move
it,
there.
whatever. But it was, yeah. And I think that's probably what we are going to find the more that we travel. If we go to Venice, or if we go to Germany, or if we go anywhere like that, we're people, right? We all have tensions. We all have stresses. We've all got things. The only thing that changes is the environment and the scenery. But all of these different experiences that we have, they're all like, they're shared. People all experience insecurity. They all experience joy. So that is nice, though. It does make you feel part of a whole. That's really good.
So good.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for episode, I believe this is number 6.
Maybe.
It's said amongst podcasters, Liz, that if you get over the number 5, you're going to do that thing.
We're doing the thing.
We are doing the dang thing.
So funny.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to share this with somebody if you want them to join in the conversation as well. As always, we would love to get this kind of stuff in front of more people, so be sure to leave us a nice rating if you are listening on Spotify and or Apple Music. Liz always gets on to me about the other no-name ones, but I'm like, nobody's listening to the other ones.
Unless they are.
Unless they are, in which case you aren't hearing this. So you can't hear us bad-mouthing you, which is very sad, unless somebody shared it with you. And then you're hearing it and you're getting insecure about
All right,
listening
wrap it up, Taylor. Wrap it up.
on a different one. Well, any last words, Liz, as we sign off for the day, for the weekend?
If you want to travel, just start saving $1 a day.
Do it.
Do it.
And then take a weekend trip and then let that whet your appetite for something bigger and then go travel the world. when you save up enough, and you're not going to put yourself in stupid credit card debt.
Do not go into debt with. It's not worth it
No, man.
to go into debt to travel, because then it's so freeing knowing you have the cash and you can do what you want to do.
Yeah, it's true. All right, guys. Well, until next time, have an amazing weekend, and we will see you again in the next episode.
Bye.